Good afternoon. It is the 15th, the 13th, sorry, November. This reading is for Libra, dating November 15th, 2025. Okay, so it's 2 days from now, so that will be Saturday. Kind of fitting, interesting, Saturn. But this one is when the moon is going to be conjunct the asteroid Sisyphus. And for those who know the story of Sisyphus, he basically was the guy who ended up rolling a boulder up a hill and then only to go down, only to realize later that it just rolled back down. So it's basically kind of like cursed. There are several, I think there was 2 versions of it, where Hades apparently put a spell on the boulder or something like that. But basically, he did that because, according to ancient Greek customs, when you violate the law of hospitality, or the culture, the custom of hospitality, trucks here. It's basically kind of against the law. So, what about this one? So, what was it? Yeah, so basically he was punished for it. They kind of do that, I guess you can see often in the ancient Greek myths, and there's a reason for that. And Sisyphus represents the struggle we see as a struggle of pushing things the way we want it to be. So you create a lot of trauma, pain, and suffering because we choose to not go with the flow, right? There's a reason why there's a symbol, there's a name for why the boulder goes uphill. Gravity goes downwards. And it's kind of fitting because this is going to be on Saturday. And Saturn rules gravity. So it's funny because it's also the traditional ruler of Aquarius and Pisces. What do you call this? Pluto is in, for many who know this, Pluto is in Aquarius right now. So that means shift is happening in humanity for people to really see the truth within themselves, individually and collectively. See where I'm going here. Okay, so it's shifts are happening. There's a lot of either it's corruption because we're in actually I'm gonna go this way. I was gonna go to the park, but no. It's how do I say this one? The reason we have corruption is because we're afraid to see things the way they are. And so what happens here is Sisyphus represents that part of us that goes, I don't want to do it your way, I want to do it my way or the highway. So basically, he was a tyrant king who he was labeled as a tyrant king because he ruled with an iron fist. That's the story of Sisyphus. So he basically killed those who didn't follow his rule. Typical, right? Tyrants do that. So yeah, so there's a grand trine between the moon. It's going to be between the moon, but now it's Sisyphus and Pluto and retrograde Uranus. So that means that because Uranus, this is where Uranus comes in, where Uranus is retrograde. So there's not a lot of shift going on with, it's looking towards your inner shift. What do you need to change? And kind of like process the things that are shocking to you, the things that are are new or unexpected, especially the ones that are, I don't expect this to happen. I want things to be the way they were. So, and people have been saying now it's like to expect the unexpected. But at the same time, it's like, is it really expecting the unexpected, or is it just really going with the flow? You can choose to go upstream, right? So there's manipulation that can happen. Manipulation is similar to corruption, right? Rather, corruption is a result. Part of the reason why there's corruption is because of manipulation. So, with it being Libra, sometimes this whole placement, this grand trine that's happening, is going to be in air signs. It's a grand air trine. That means it's going to be this, well, it is happening, it's still there. So we might use too much logic to justify or satisfy what we want to happen. Right? So, this is there. Keep going. I've got this way. Okay. What was I listening? Oh, okay. So because this is in Libra, it's going to be affecting air signs, especially if your sun sign, your personal planets is in the first few degrees, first maybe 5 degrees of an air sign. But there's also something that might trigger things, specifically like with your health. So Sisyphus represents HeLa cells. HeLa cells are the cells a part of the, I think it's part of the, something that creates immortality or something like that. It's immortal cells, basically. They kind of regenerate, which ties in with the Pluto energy. Okay, so what do you call this? And because it's in Libra, or actually even in Aquarius and also Gemini, so what's happening here is watch out for things like your central nervous system, and also things like your stressors, any forms of stress. I know that sometimes we want to manipulate our way out of stress, but the key is not running away from that. Libra, sometimes these are an air signs, a very human sign. So sometimes we want to step away from that stuff. And this is a time to actually work with that. This way. To work. It's loud. Okay. I'm going to go back. Okay. So, as air signs, we usually want peace. You want kind of like flow. You want things to be kind of logical. You want things to be communicated, those kind of things. But sometimes there are things that we can't force, or we can't force anything. The only thing we can do is see our perception of it. So it comes down to perception and changing all that stuff. You've heard of this before. If you haven't, welcome. That means that you're working on something, hopefully, because I am. So as I do this, it's cold outside. I'm going to go back in. So there's a lot of things you want to escape to. And this is an air sign quality as well, because sometimes we want to justify things. Escapism doesn't just happen with, like water signs. Or doesn't matter. The point is, it's there for a reason. So, I know that wasn't so much of a quality reading because I am outside. I'm trying to do this while I'm outside, but I like it. It's good. It's a good challenge. I like it. To face the cold right away. So anyways, thank you for watching. I hope that made sense. So watch out for your central nervous system, stressors, your adrenal system as well, and kidneys. That's another thing. Nervous system is also part of this one. So just do what's right for you, but at the same time without suppressing anything, if that makes sense. Thank you for watching. See you guys later.